Very nice. Okay.
So what are we gonna do without Chris Groman to grace us with his presence and take control of the mic to display his full football acumen? I don't know. Kind of nervous.
Are you now? I think it'll be more free flowing and not scripted. It always looks like he's reading from something.
Yeah. I just pull up scores unless we get caught in something that needs to be Googled.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I do is I usually have my split screen. So I just have a list of the prior week and the upcoming week games.
Yeah.
And then every now and then I'll click on some of the stats. So I have a little more content that applies to whichever game we're talking about. But that's about it.
Yeah.
There's no need for anything else, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But if we had like pre-planned segments where we were going to talk about a particular player or team or college or whatever, I mean, there's a lot going on in the league right now. I mean, aside from the play of football, with these coaches going wild, you know what I mean? It's like
unbelievable
to talk about.
Unbelievable. It's funny because I didn't even read the article, but Keyshawn Johnson pissed me off today. Right? He went on the record as saying he always thought Gruden was a fraud. Mm-hmm. Okay, come on, Keyshawn, dude's been in the league a long motherfucking time. And you've been on TV a long motherfucking time. This is the first time you're going to say something like that?
No, he's actually said it before.
Has he?
Yeah. Yeah. There's receipts where he talked about there's something amiss with John Gruden and he's not showing you who he really is.
Ooh.
And he's been pretty public about it, but now he's just going downright visceral Broad Street on him.
As he should. As he should.
And they were saying, I forget who it was. Somebody said, I heard, Stephen A. He was talking to him. He said, and you talked about this in the past, and there wasn't a lot of legs given to what he was saying at the time.
Right.
He said, damn, you were right all along. So, and some of the things were, they put icing on the top to give it a little more zest and flair. And other things was just like, why would you say that? And not for nothing. A lot of the things he said, there are probably a lot of different people who feel similarly to what he said, but they ain't stupid enough to provide a receipt. Here it is for the world to see one day.
Don't put it in an email. Right.
Don't put it in an email. Don't have a mic on. That could be a hot mic. There's so many things that you should know, particularly being in the public spotlight that he's in. Look at my jacket pocket that I had on. My Access Cornerstone jacket. Like your publicist has to tell you, remind you repeatedly. There's certain things you just don't say if you don't want it to ever come back on you.
Because he'll never work again.
Mm-mm.
Not in today's day and age. It's just not going to happen. Like when's the last, a totally different scenario, but have we heard about Kevin Spacey? Dude was a good actor. And then that shit come out.
Yeah. How about it?
So
how about it?
He is not coming back from
a hypersensitive cancel culture society. This is probably the worst it's ever been. In terms of the people speaking and their opinions being pacified. This if you ever had a raw opinion of somebody and you got receipts to prove it, now's the time. Snitches don't get stitches anymore. They just don't. And not for nothing, there's so many cameras and so many different people who are no longer afraid of ratting out the rich guy, that they're targets now.
Well, because it's not a large group of people that target them, but there's easy access to target people, right?
Correct.
Like, so it's a very select few that are on that level, and I talk the extremes of the pendulum, and we have far right, far left, right? And most of this is going to come out from the far left. And not to say that it shouldn't come out, right? But it's the people that just this is wrong, and what, I have a platform where I can put it out on blast, and I could probably make some money off it.
Yeah.
End of story. Done deal.
Yeah.
Like there's, so not kind of different, but the NFLPA is trying to force the Washington football team, or the whatchamafucks, to get the rest of their emails too.
Yeah.
There's
what?
There's some shit going on there.
I guarantee you there are a lot of high profile individuals who are scouring their emails right now to get rid of any breadcrumbs that may exist, especially those who were interacting with Gruden.
Yeah.
Because he's hot right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what would be on my electronic record had I been 20 something, 17, 23, and just being reckless, with not a care in the world about anything, really, just found shit funny, like just on some Dave Chappelle level, just not give a fuck, but like, I'm not Dave Chappelle, right? Like I'm not, I didn't turn away $50 million and leave it on the table. That's not my story.
He got off the bus, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. You should watch his latest show on Netflix.
I did.
By the way,
I did.
He just
was epic.
Fuck, I loved it.
Yeah.
You
see these dumb motherfuckers now got something to say about it.
They do.
That was a great show.
And like he explained it. He
did.
He
explained it as if you were a kindergartner.
He sure did.
And you need extra help understanding.
And they still need extra help. They need to go back to putting the square box into the square peg, or the square peg into the square hole. Anyway, that's kind of take it back to football. So last week, Chris and I had a conversation about the other coach in the league that was in hot water that we mysteriously forgot about, and that was Urban Meyer. And we were talking about whether or not he would still have a job, right? And like, would he last the season? I said, I don't think they can. I think they go 0-6, 0-7. See ya. We could be 0-6, 0-7 with anybody. Might as well let us coach the team at that point. So he said, well, who's next in line? I said, that's a good question. And he said, Eric Bieniemy, right? And so like, I got like, why does he not have a job, right? And I immediately said, I'm having a hard time saying it's just because he's a black dude. Like there has to be, like, we have other black coaches in the league. This dude's been a hot topic from day one. Anytime a coaching job comes up, we're saying Eric Bieniemy. Like, help me, man. I don't know how to explain why that dude doesn't have a head coaching job. But I would bet money that if the Jacksonville job opened, he wouldn't get it. And I don't know why.
I don't know. Some things don't have an easy solution or a very visible reason that you could point to and say, this is the reason why. That's one of those things that is just highly perplexing, and it will, who knows? I think that there are a couple of opportunities that might open up at the end of this year. Certainly Jacksonville's one of them. We already know Las Vegas is another one. There's probably going to be a couple more. Nagy, if Nagy keeps his team playing well, he might salvage another year out of it, but I think he's another one that's on some kind of a hot seat. And not for nothing.
They got lucky. I think they played the Raiders at the right time. I think they played
Oh
the
my
Raiders
God.
when the Raiders weren't focused.
There's so much wrong in the locker room that first of all, the talent we know is there. The will is what has been tarnished.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say, because these guys still have to like honor their contracts, if you will.
Yeah.
So, and then a lot of them are still prideful. They got to show some effort.
Yeah.
But they're making business decisions out there right now.
Oh yeah.
Now, they may play a lot differently next week,
Dude.
but
Okay,
stuff is still coming out.
I think they have women on their roster, you know, in their ranks. Gruden went after them. They have a gay dude, an openly gay dude on their team. That's got to be awkward, you know. And like most of your team is a bunch of black dudes.
Yeah,
and you went in on them.
I think there is probably going to be, well, let me not say probably, a lot more is going to be discussed.
Yeah.
One of the things is, how much of this did the Raider organization know about?
Right.
When that's revealed, it's going to really give us a clearer peek in the window of what's going to happen with them for the rest of the season. I mean, look, they might hire Eric Bieniemy because of this shit.
They might, but does Bieniemy even take the job? Right? Like, it's like we don't know why he's not a head coach, right? Like, and maybe he just doesn't want the job. Like, we don't ever hear him speak about it. We don't even really hear him make any kind of comment about anything, really.
Yeah.
So, like, would you want that job?
Well, think about it. Some people really like the position of DC and OC. I mean, look at Josh McDaniels. He was hired.
Yeah.
Fuck that. I think I'm gonna stay right here where I am. You know, some people just like it. Some people don't want that much of the spotlight, you know, to be the head coach of an organization. I think that whoever walks into, and this is a good question, we'll look at three different teams: the Bears, the Jaguars, and the Raiders. Which one is the most attractive? I think the Raiders is the most turnkey.
Has to be, right? Like, you're in Vegas, you're in a brand new stadium, you have a built-in fan base, you know. I mean, I would even put Chicago second ahead of Jacksonville, even though I like the Jacksonville job, right? Like, you got a really, really good quarterback. You got a couple pieces on defense that are young. Defense isn't playing that bad. Offense isn't playing that bad, and they've had some key injuries. You know, they need some wide receivers, you know, so they're just not a turnkey. Chicago has the historic value to it. But do I want to live in Chicago for the winter?
Shit, do you want to live in Jacksonville? It ain't much better. I mean, it's warm, but it's like the only nice place in Jacksonville is the stadium. Yeah. Everything else is like the slums of Florida.
Yeah. It's weird, right? It's Florida, but it's like barely Florida.
Yeah.
So it's Vegas.
Yeah.
Vegas. That's I'd take that job.
Yeah. I think Vegas would have to be the most attractive right now, with just out of those three teams as the scenario, the most attractive landing spot, you know. I mean,
for 4 weeks, weren't we talking about them being a playoff contender, possible Super Bowl?
Yeah. And playing lights out. I mean, Derek Carr is leading the league through the first 4 weeks of the season in passing yards and probably QBR too. I don't know off the top of my head, but I know he was leading in a couple of categories and still not having a contract. Some good games last week, though.
Some really good games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know where to start. Right. I did not watch the end of last night's game because I thought Indy had it in the bag. I was like, I'm going to bed. Done, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to take advantage of what I say I should do every week, and I'm going to go to bed. And then I wake up this morning, and apparently Lamar Jackson went ham, and they came back and won that game.
I honestly didn't get to see any of the game and was shocked
Here's a
when
question.
I was shocked when I heard that not only was Indy winning, but it wasn't even close.
No, it wasn't close. They were manhandling them.
That's what I heard.
You know, Carson Wentz was efficient. Jonathan Taylor is a fucking beast. He's a beast, and he's fast as fuck, man. Like I was just like, yo, I forgot he ran a 4.35. And like, you know, we talk about speed. We don't ever talk about speed on this, but like, so, you know, they talk about speed. They talk about 40 times. And like a 4.5 is fast, right? The difference between a 4.4 and a 4.5, though, even a 4.45, right, and a versus a 4.5 is like when you're running 100 yards down the field, you're pulling away rather quickly. A 4.35 is lights out speed, lights out, and he's 230 pounds. That's
Yeah.
a scary dude.
Isn't it funny how these really little dudes are really fast?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
yeah,
The taller you are, the slower you are. It's really weird.
yeah. Except for DK Metcalf, apparently.
Oh my God. Well, he's a freak of nature.
He's like a gazelle.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great way to describe him. Yeah. I didn't even get to see the game, but I saw like my phone. My wife and I were having a long conversation last night. So we were engaged in whatever we were talking about.
Good.
My phone kept buzzing. ESPN lets you know close game alert. Close game. I'm like, yeah, okay. Close game alert. I thought that and then I saw the score at one point. I was like, damn, the Colts are really big because I picked the Ravens in this game. I was like, okay, there's another one that I didn't pick, right? Looked at my phone this morning to see who won. And look at Carson Wentz, 402 yards, 2 TDs. He had a very good night.
Lamar threw for 442
and 4 TDs.
What?
And ran for 6. He had 500 yards of production himself. The guy's unbelievable.
Mark Andrews with a night.
No moral victories though, right? You know,
None.
Got to win.
You have to win, right? And the Colts are 1-4, and that's just, I mean, I love it. Carson, keep playing and get a top 10 draft pick out of it. I'm good with it. I think they're not going to finish in where they're projected today for a draft pick. I don't think they finish in that same position. I haven't looked at the rest of their schedule, but I can't imagine them going 4-13.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's a little perplexing that they're 1-4 right now, to be honest with you. I think they're a better team than their record says, but you are what your record says you are too. It's one of those really weird situations.
Well, I think we'll see Marlon Mack on the trade-in block. You know, because there's no need to have, you know, I think you should always have 2 running backs, but I think Marlon Mack wants to play.
It's so scary though with injuries. Like you just never know.
Yeah.
Who's going to be available for 60 minutes from week to week.
And I'll segue that to Saquon and the Giants game, right? Like, not going to talk about the score, right? It is what it is. I think the Giants played well considering. You know, I think Dallas is just on another level this year, man. I really do. You know, and maybe it would have been closer had they been at full strength, but I mean, Dallas is just playing ball hawk defense, and I've been preaching for a long time about feeding Zeke. And they start running, and it's not just Zeke anymore, it's Pollard. So we might as well include him. But if they run the ball and rush for more than 100 yards in a game, they're going to win. And now they're rushing for 200 yards a game, you know, and that just frees Dak up to do Dak shit. And he's a good quarterback, man. The kid can play, you know, and like if we were worried about his ankle, there was one tackle where he almost got sacked and was able to get the ball away. And like the Giant defender had his ankle and was pulling backwards. But that titanium bone held together strong. All those screws stayed in place, and like he miraculously got the ball away. You know,
Yeah.
but like they're a scary team for anybody.
Yeah.
I
Dak
just,
Prescott looks really good. Their offensive line is playing well. Their running game is just probably the best in a National Football League right now. I mean, I could compare them to maybe Cleveland.
that's about it.
They're just that 1-2 punch that they have is pretty good. And not for nothing, it's almost like Kellen Moore and Dak Prescott are like the Borg. Like they know exactly what each other's thinking, what would work in what situation. And they're just playing very efficient football. And like you started off talking about the running game sets up the play action so well that if they keep doing what they're doing, they're just going to keep winning. And not for nothing, their offense was pretty potent last year, but they had no defense. So you add that defense into the mix, and now that's how you could drop 40 on teams because you'll probably get a defensive touchdown, or I think they might have even blocked a punt yesterday. You might even get a special teams touchdown. And then momentum is a very real thing. When your team is playing well, the ball just seems to bounce in your direction. You know, when you lead, you know, without you doing anything, stuff tends to happen for you. So hats off to them. I picked Dallas to win. I put a video up in the group.
I watched it.
I picked them to win, and I thought it would be closer, but I didn't anticipate 3 starters going down for injury.
No.
And not for nothing, Dallas shot themselves in the foot a couple of times. Fumbled the ball in the red zone.
Like 3 times.
Yeah.
They could have put a 60-pointer up.
They could have. So
I think teams slow down though before they get to 60. You know what I mean? Like I don't think teams try to put 60 on your ass. It's not college.
Yeah. I think your playbook changes when you have a comfortable lead.
Yeah.
You don't like, what's the point at that point? Then your
Yeah.
defense is playing well. You want to eat clock more than score points. That's what you want to do.
Yeah. But we segued to this game because of Saquon, right? And like
the Carson Wentz of running backs.
It's terrible, right? Like I am a 15-game fan of Saquon. That's them. And his injury was a freak injury, right? Like it looked like it could have been a phenomenal play had it connected. And then like he was just kind of walking, you know, and just, you know, kind of jogging out the run. And then when they showed that picture, I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, the injury report came out for it, and it's nowhere near as bad as it looked after he's had the MRI. It's just a lower ankle sprain. However, it's still a 2 to 3 week that he's going to be out.
So I was like, I turned my ankle bad once when I played basketball, like bad. And like it was one of those where your foot hit somebody else's, and then like my whole body kept going around anyway. And like when my mom saw it, she was like, damn, you might have been better off breaking it. You know, just because
brains can be just they can be worse.
It's one of those injuries. So like we gotta watch out for this one, man. Yeah. But if there's any glimmer of hope, like I think Booker showed like I'm a fairly quality back, and I can get in there and run this ball. So
the Giants let Wayne Gallman go last year, and Wayne Gallman was a good back, and now he's number 3 on the depth chart.
Yeah,
on another team.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like what they would give to have him back right now.
Where is he?
He was with San Fran. They cut him, and I don't.
Is he in Atlanta?
I don't know. I know he was in San Fran, and they cut him. Now he's with.
He's in Atlanta.
He's in Atlanta.
And
He's a good running back.
Cordarrelle Patterson is you might as well call him your starting running back.
Cordell Patterson is like two players in one.
It's
He's
weird.
a receiver and a running back, and plays both positions very efficiently.
Crazy.
And then you got just so many injuries in that particular game. So,
and hats off to Kadarius Toney, who looks like he could be a fun player.
yeah.
He just needs to stop punching people with helmets on.
Yeah. He did well in his press conference when he was asked about it. He apologized to the organization, to the fans. He said, that was the stupidest thing I could have done. It was a rookie mistake. I was caught up in the moment. You'll never see me do that again. But, I need to apologize to the fans, to the organization, to the, the league, and you'll never see that from me. I thought what he said was the perfect response to it, but it's unacceptable.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You can't do that. No matter, I've seen players, I don't know if you remember this, but I think his name was Dante Hall or something like that. He was a receiver for the Atlanta Falcons. I think that's what the position he played was, but a cornerback spit in his face, and it was caught on live television.
Yeah.
And you do that to any man, like you got the right, even permission from the league, I would think, to go in, right? And like when Kadarius Toney reacted the way he did, like I grew up in the inner city of Newark, New Jersey.
Yep.
I understand.
Yeah.
But you can't do that, bro.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You know what I mean? But I know is sometimes when you're in a moment, it gets the best of you. But the guy who got spit in the face, somehow he was able to maintain his composure enough to not throw a punch. I think he pushed him.
Yeah.
But he didn't try to punch him, which was stupid anyway. What are you going to punch a helmet? Are you kidding me? But yeah, but he's going to be a lot of fun if he can stay healthy also.
Yeah.
The other thing, the Eagles, though.
What about them?
That was a good win. That was I did not think the Eagles were going to win that game. I thought the Carolina Panthers were the reason why I picked the Carolina Panthers to win that game is because they were in Carolina. Without McCaffrey, I felt like it was going to be tough, but their back has been playing well.
Yeah.
But the Eagles are such a gritty, tenacious team. They never quit.
They have a below the radar, pretty good defense.
Yeah, they did.
And they seem to, I read an article the other day that like how he missed in free agency. I don't think he did, right? Like I think the pieces they brought in fit nicely into that defense. I think Eric Wilson's playing decent. I think the dude we got from the Vikings is playing all right. Slay with somebody that's not named Jalen playing the other side of the corner is free to do what Darius Slay does, and that's proven to be pretty good dividends. Even without Brandon Graham, the defensive line is playing pretty well. I think the offensive line held up okay, considering they're in shambles. They had a couple dudes back, but like they're essentially playing at 2/3 preseason starting lineup. They got two of their starters playing, and I think they even switched Mailata to the right tackle.
He did not have a good game.
That's because he plays left tackle. Like you've been working with this dude who played rugby his whole life to be a left tackle, right? And that's what he knows. And then you're just going to switch him to the right side. That shit made no sense to me.
And
it's a completely different mindset. And you wouldn't think it would be. It's fucking tackle, but
no, it's different.
I question the Eagles coaching. That's going to be my problem all year long, right? Like I see good things and I see bad things. And maybe it's just growing pains, right? Like, I believe Jalen Hurts is the quarterback, right? I don't think they need to look elsewhere. I don't think they need to take a flyer on Deshaun Watson and give up 3 first-round draft picks. I think they could take those 3 first-round draft picks and get some fucking studs in that lineup. Some young boys that could just play ball and just put them in and let's go. Let's just say it's an offensive lineman, a defensive lineman, and a cornerback to play opposite of Slay. Let's just say it's that. You put 3 first, like maybe 3 top 10 picks into that lineup. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah. I think that the weakest link on your team right now, and if you look at the 4 units, coaching, offense, defense, and specials, coaching is the weakest link in the Eagles organization. And I don't think Howie's done a bad job.
I don't think he has.
Howie's been clutch way too many times to say he's done a bad job. So
he just needs to shut up and go in his hole and do his job.
Look at your skill positions. Quarterback. You got a really good quarterback who, for some reason, there's some people who still doubt him, even though every week he shows you that he's a good quarterback and he's getting better. His backup was a starter in this league. Started as a backup, became the starter, and played well. So you're pretty good there.
Yeah.
Your running back position. Miles Sanders is a very good running back. You still got Boston Scott, right?
Yep. Who hasn't seen the field?
You still got, what's his name? Howard?
I think he's on the practice squad, but yeah, he's there.
Even on your practice squad, he's a freaking asset, though, is what I'm saying.
Yep.
Like, you got some studs in the backfield. Your offensive line has been playing well, except for the stupid moves that they've done in shifting players around. I don't understand it. I really don't understand it.
No, me neither.
Your tight end, well, you just lost Goddard for some reason.
Goddard's got COVID.
He's got COVID. Ertz, I'm hearing rumors about he might get traded or something like that. He might,
but with Goddard out for a week.
Goddard out, he won't. Right. So at the tight end position, you're still good for this. You may need to look at a tight end for next year, right?
Yep.
Draft. And your receiver position, I don't know that you really need to do too much there. You're okay.
I don't think you need to do anything. All right. Like, you got Devontae Smith is they made the right pick, right? Like, I would have loved to have Micah Parsons, because I think the kid's a stud.
You think?
He's a fucking stud.
This is going to turn
into there was a play
podcast.
There was a play in the game where I think Danny Dimes was still in the game, but he was rolling out, and Micah Parsons took off from like the other side of the field and made the right angle, and like he almost got to him. I was like, dude, look at this dude run. That's another fucking gazelle. Mm-hmm. You know, he's a beast.
He's a gazelle that hits hard.
Really hard, you know. So good for Dallas. Fuck them. But yeah, so it's Devontae Smith was the right pick, and he's not even getting the ball enough, right? Like, you know, Sirianni doesn't know how to call plays in a game. That's
he only had like two touches in the first half, didn't he?
Something like that.
Some really low number.
So here, I'm just confused. What are you doing with Miles Sanders? That's weird. Secondly, why are you not getting Boston Scott in the game a little bit? Right? Like, he's an asset sitting on the bench. You know, bring him in for the little bubble screen. Even as a decoy, get him in the game, right? You get him in the game, people need to pay attention because he's a little shifty dude. You know, and
just can't see behind that offensive line.
No.
He's so little.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm you know, I'm okay with where they're at. I wasn't expecting much to begin with. I think they need to make a change, but Sirianni goes 6, 7, 8 wins. They're not making a change.
Yeah.
It's not happening. So it's either win 4 or 5 games and maybe Sirianni gets fired, or win 6 or 7 or 8 games.
Well, that brings up a question. When is it too soon to fire a coach who's newly installed on a team? After 1 season, 2 bad seasons, 3 bad seasons? When is it too soon? Have we become so attached or in need of instant gratification that we don't give the system enough time, with the personnel enough time to be in place?
Yeah. So this is where rounding would come into play. And like, I don't know if Laurie's the guy to do this. I don't know if Howie's the guy to do this, but somebody's got to get a pulse on that locker room. And if the locker room is still bought in, right, and there's progress and there's growth, like you can keep it going a little bit longer. I'll use the Jets as an example. How in the hell did they let Adam Gase lead that team for more than what he did? Right? Like, he was there for 2 years, wasn't he? Maybe 3? Was it 2 or 3 years?
I don't remember. I'll look it up.
It was too long. Like, and somebody had to know, like, he just didn't have the locker room respect. Somebody had to know that. Now Joe Judge, kind of similar, like he's been in New York for what, a season and not even a half, right? And he's been hit with a bunch of injuries. Is it too soon? I don't know.
I'll comment on that. I was just looking up this Adam Gase question. I wish this was easier to find out. It was at least 2 seasons. He was the head coach of the Jets for 2 seasons. He was 9-23 over 2 years. So I asked that question because
2 years.
2 years, yeah.
It's 2. Let's just say it's 2 years. That should be this line in the sand.
I think it depends on a lot of things. I don't think that 2 years should be the rule, because like you started off, if your team has bought in to the philosophy, and not only bought in, but you can see glimpses of what is trying to be brought in.
Right.
I think you got to, I don't think 2 years is enough, to be honest with you. I think if you're doing it less than 3, you turn into what the Giants have turned into, what the Browns were. You turn into an organization to what the Raiders were forever.
Yeah.
I mean, the Raiders, every 2 years, it was a new coach. It was like, when are you going to give the seed you're planting a chance to grow? It's really hard to win in the league anyway. And then to expect these, like, not everybody's going to have the turnaround that the San Francisco 49ers enjoyed when they went from 1-15 to 14-2. That's just not normal, and is an unrealistic expectation. So in the example that you provided with Adam Gase, I think he was cancerous. I don't think there's many people who did not. I don't think there were many people who couldn't see that he was a huge problem with the Jets organization. A huge problem. Players, fans, analysts, everybody. Adam Gase is a terrible coach. Ray Handley was a coach of the New York Giants at one point. He was the in-between when Parcells left and Jim Fossil came. We had a guy named Ray Handley. He was the worst coach ever. And I think they kept him 3 years, which was 1 year too long. We hated him. Bro, I was like 19 or 20 and just, I don't remember how old I was, but it was just like the worst experience as a fan. So I hear a lot of chatter going around, and you brought Joe Judge up about Joe Judge. Is it time to bail on him or whatever the case may be? No, I don't think it is. I think maybe the Clapper might be the wrong fit, but Joe, I don't think the head coach is a problem. What I do think needs to happen is, and I think this happens with all coaches, you have to make some shifts and pivots in how you coach in order to get the most out of your players.
Yeah.
You don't pay attention to what you're getting back, then you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. And that's why Shermer had such a hard time. That's why McAdoo had such a hard time, because they were such sticklers to this idea of what they wanted to do, but they didn't read the pulse of the team.
Right.
And the pulse of the team is what's going to decide whether or not what you're pitching is going to stick versus not. And they're gonna rebel. And you're just gonna have a shit show on your hands.
Matt Nagy is in his fourth season as the head coach of the Chicago Bears.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with that is I think he's had some pretty good seasons in there.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, I don't know. Like it's just such a quandary to be in.
I know, but stability matters, man. Look at some of the best coaches in the league. They're fixed. Tomlin ain't going nowhere. Tomlin can have 5 bad seasons. He ain't going nowhere.
No,
He's
cemented. He's had like how long has he been a head coach?
15 years.
Never had a losing season.
Not once.
So he's good for 5.
Yeah.
And like, who knows, man? Like, so I'm in like the Eagle game wasn't broadcast here. They had the Steeler game on, right, on TV. That was the only 1:00 game on TV for me. So I'm like, fuck. So I go to Walmart, right? I was like, I'm just gonna go out, right? Like, I don't expect them to win anyway. Whatever. So I go out next to Walmart's Permane Brothers. I was like, well, let me go get some wings and sit in the bar and check the game out, right? Let me catch the second half. So I go in, I sit down. They have it on one TV at the bar, but right next to is the Steelers game. And there's like 4 Eagle fans sitting right next to me. So I was like, sweet, this is okay. So we're watching both games, man. And just a really gritty day for Pennsylvania in general, right? Like what? Like, and they both ended almost the same way. So the Eagles had the lead, but left some time on the clock, right? And like possibly Carolina could have scored, you know. And then we got the interception. And then there was the Steeler game, which shocked me because I think I picked, who did they play again? They were playing.
The Steelers played Denver.
I picked Denver.
I picked Pittsburgh.
You did pick. You were like 13-3 for the week, by the way. It's pretty solid. So I picked Denver, right? I just thought they were playing well. And, you know, they had a drive to at least attempt to tie the game. And they got down almost to the red zone. And it was almost immediately after the Eagles pick, the Steelers picked off in the end zone.
Wow.
Like it was
funny is that?
It was a great, you know.
So it was like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then over here.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun sitting there, you know, in Permane Brothers in Altoona, PA, watching that happen, right?
That's
and
awesome.
You know, I kind of, you know, I don't hate the Steelers anymore.
Did you ever really hate them?
No, I just hate the Steeler fans on the page.
Oh.
You know, they like to run it in on the Eagles, right? Like they, you know, why? Like we're from the same state. We never play each other.
Well, that's one of the reasons they pick on the Eagles. You know, there's only one Pennsylvania team and yada, yada, yada.
Well, the city feels inferior. So, you know, they got to have something. They got 6 rings. We got the Liberty Bell. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the way it goes.
A fair trade-off.
But another game that we need to talk about is the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills, right? And Chris and I talked about this game at length, right? And he says, are we really because we both picked the Bills. He goes, are we both really picking the Bills to go 2-3? Or not the Bills, the Chiefs to go 2-3. And if they go 2-3, are they done? Yeah, I think they're done. I think they missed the playoffs. I really do. The Bills handed them their ass. And not only did they hand them their ass, they left their boot in it.
Josh Allen.
Josh fucking Allen. Did you see the run that he made where he hurdled the dude?
I did. Josh Allen, what do you say about this guy? He's on a whole nother level right now.
And he has a rocket arm. A rocket arm. The pass to Emmanuel Sanders was just a dart. Just, I was like, this kid. Wasn't he the fifth pick? He was the fourth no, he was the fourth because Lamar was the fifth. He was the fourth quarterback picked. It's Baker. It was Darnold. It was Josh Rosen, who's out of the league. Then it was Josh Allen. Then it was Lamar.
Yeah. And the other thing is Patrick Mahomes, he's playing like a 2-3 quarterback right now. He's not playing like Patrick Mahomes. It's like he's playing scared or something like that.
So in the 3 losses, Tyreek Hill has been eliminated. For as much as you can eliminate Tyreek Hill, he's been eliminated. And
he had 1 catch, right?
Yeah, he had more than one.
He had 7 catches. Yeah.
But so in the 2 games that they won, he had 11 catches in both games. He had 187 against the Eagles. He had 190 against the other team they beat, against the Browns, right? In the other 3 games, he's basically had the stat line like he did against the Bills, right? And it's 7 for 63, no touchdowns, right? Against, I'll just pull up the other games real quick since we're talking about it. Against the Chargers, he 5 for 56, no touchdowns. Against, who was the other loss? The Ravens.
That was their first game, wasn't it?
Second game.
Against
the Ravens, 3 for 14. So if you take Tyreek Hill out of the game, which they've essentially done in the 3 losses, Patrick Mahomes doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, he's been his go-to, reliable.
Doesn't know what to do. They rely on that long bomb. Like Tyreek just wants to get out and race somebody to the corner. And Patrick is like, I could throw the ball that far. Let's go. And that's what they do. And it kills teams because you have to watch out for that. But, and I think that whoever was calling the game Sunday night explained it very well. That the Bills were basically press covering with secondary. So they were like putting Tyreek Hill in a box, essentially. Like, I'm going to have you from here to here, but then we're going to cover you with somebody once you go past me. And it seems to be the magic sauce. Yeah. That if you take, let Kelsey get his 10 catches, 140 yards, couple touchdowns, we could live with that.
But we won't get burnt over the top.
But we start getting burnt over the top. Now we got to worry about that, because if they do it once, they're probably going to do it twice. I mean, in their 2 wins, his numbers are ungodly. You know, he's let me see. I think they just have his stats in the games by game. 11 for 186, 3 touchdowns. 11 for 197 and a touchdown. 197. So even though he had only 1 touchdown there, like, you're getting them close to the goal. You're close to the end zone. How many times with him, with 197 yards? You're just shortening the field. So they're scoring 35 points a game. You take that away, what do?
I honestly don't think that the Chiefs have done enough to improve defensively either.
They have no defense.
Mm-hmm.
They really don't. They have no defense. They're giving up, a just horrible amount of points per game, like 30, over 30. They're giving up over 30 a game. They're done.
Yeah.
You have the Chargers and the Raiders and the Broncos in that division.
I still think the Chiefs are better than the Raiders and the Broncos, especially now. I still think that, that's still a tough conference. The AFC's got some.
Okay. They have to play the Packers. They have to play the Cowboys. They got to play the Raiders twice. They have to play the Chargers again in LA. They have to play the Bengals. They have to play in Denver. And not for nothing, they have to play the Steelers. Like, not for nothing, like, they could potentially lose 4 more games.
Oh, yeah.
And that puts them at 10-7. If they're 10-7, they're missing the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's going to be really interesting to see how the Raiders bounce back, right? If the Raiders come back to first 4 game form, I'm going to say that they're going to finish ahead of the Chiefs.
Do we believe in the Broncos?
See, I think the Broncos are sneaky good, right? I think they have a good defense. They're loaded on defense. They're so loaded, they're talking about letting players go. Like, they're loaded in the secondary. They're like, we got too many cornerbacks. So if somebody needs one, make us an offer. I think Teddy Bridgewater is better than people think. I think Williams is a nice complementary back to Melvin Gordon. I think they're sneaky good. Noah Fant's a good tight end. Cortland Sutton's holding the fort down while Jerry Jeudy's on IR. He's coming back. He has a high ankle sprain. Let's not forget about him coming back. Let's see let's see who makes trades, right? If Denver makes a trade to get, like, Devontae Parker from Miami, let's just say, and brings in another wide receiver, and Jerry Jeudy comes back, that's a formidable offense, and that puts them at another level. I think that they're good enough to scare the Chiefs. I believe, they have the defense to do it. So
I think as good as they are, they're still middle of the pack.
Yeah.
They just happen to have a soft schedule to start their season. And Teddy Bridgewater is a good quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater is not a dynamic quarterback.
No.
He's just a good quarterback. He's not going to do anything too flashy. He's not going to put you at risk. He's what I would call a step above a game manager. That's what Teddy Bridgewater is.
I can see
So who
that.
do we have Thursday night this week?
I don't even know.
Let's see. Week 6. Who do we have Thursday night? Come on, Lloyd. You know.
Ooh. We have an L Thursday night is what we have. That's what we got. It's in Philly, right? And, like, not for nothing. Okay, so Tom came out and admitted he hates that he lost to the Giants, right? Like he admitted that. Like he's like, anytime I could beat them,
Twice.
yeah, twice. Anytime I could beat them, I feel good about it, right? So like he wants to play New York bad, right? I think on the low, he probably feels the same way about Philly, right? Like, because there's another team, but he's 1-1 against Philly in the Super Bowl. So maybe not as bad, right?
He doesn't fare well against the NFC East, period.
No. And it's in Philly. It's on a short week. If there's ever a week that the Eagles could shock the world, and they've done it before, they almost, well, I was still married to Michelle, so it's more than 4 years ago. We were still living in Bethlehem, so it's probably more like 6 or 7 years
I
ago.
remember that game actually.
But they were playing New England.
Yep.
And they swamped them, right? Like, I mean, just destroyed. Like I was like, how is this even fucking happening? Because in all intents and purposes, they should have got, blown out. I mean, this could be one of those weeks. Tom's got a hurt thumb. It's in Philly. It's Thursday night. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say they're going to win the game. I fully expect an L, but I wouldn't be shocked if something crazy happened.
Yeah.
They got a good defense, man. They do, but it's Tom Brady. And Tom Brady has a habit of making decent secondaries look stupid.
So it's still Tom Brady. He doesn't have Gronk, one of his favorite targets. I don't think he's going to be available this Thursday either.
He's questionable right now.
I don't know that has mattered for him because he's still got Evans. He still has Antonio Brown, who's looking like he was right all along for leaving Pittsburgh and for leaving New England and leaving the Raiders.
Y'all think I'm crazy. You don't know what the fuck's happening in this locker room.
So, but not for nothing, Tom Brady is not human, bro.
No.
What he's able to do at 44 is unbelievable. Now, to speak to what you just said about the Eagles, you could never sleep on the Eagles. You just can't. The Eagles are that team that you'll have them counted out. That, like, the Eagles will have their fans breaking their TVs in the first half, can't even watch the second half, and come back and play the most efficient, disciplined second half and beat a team that they had no business beating. They're that team. And I've seen them do it with people who were filling bags at supermarkets 2 weekends ago. And now they're in a cover 2 defense in the playoff game, playing lights out.
Yeah.
So don't get me wrong. They still want to lose this game.
They're going to lose.
I can see the Eagles putting up a fucking dog fight, bro. Like they left 58 seconds on the clock for Brady, which was 58 seconds too long. Yep. That's what I can see happening in this game.
Yep.
And not for nothing, these Thursday night games, even the Jags and the Bengals, there was only one Thursday night game that wasn't entertaining.
Yeah.
But these Thursday night games have been pretty entertaining this year.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to pick a winner for this game, I'm going to pick the Bucks. I just think they're playing on another level, bro.
So you said Tom Brady was not human. Is that the word you used?
Yeah.
So just a little segue to some stats. Tom Brady is on pace through 5 games. It's a good sample size. Through 5 games, he's on pace to throw for over 6,000 yards and for 51 touchdowns.
At 44.
6,000 yards. Like, yes, they have an extra game in there, right? But, like, what's the record right now? It's like 5,500? Let me look.
Their record, their win percentage?
No, the most yards.
Oh, the most yards. That's the Drew Brees record, isn't it?
Peyton Manning, 54-77. Yes, Drew Brees by 1 yard. So 5,500, as I said, right? Pretty damn close. He's on pace for 6,000. Even if you took a game away, he's still on pace to break that record. You know, and 51 touchdowns. And not for nothing, he's got 2 interceptions. 2 divided by 5 times 17. 7. 51 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. That's what he's on pace for. And 6,000 yards. That's fucking nuts, man.
It's not fair.
I have to give him the props. Like that's all there is to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's real easy to hate Brady. You hate him because he ain't your quarterback.
Yeah.
And that's the truth.
I mean, that's why Matt Hassan became a Tampa Bay fan.
Gotta bring him up in a football trash talk for real fans podcast. I got nothing for that one.
That's great. So was there any other game that was worth mentioning?
I thought that the London game was pretty entertaining, to be honest with you.
It turned out to be.
How about the Patriots Texans game? Not that these two teams are expected to do much, but and then the Chargers Browns game was actually a really good game too. Yeah. Odell Beckham Jr. drops what would have been the game sealer in that game. But the Patriots Texans game, the Patriots were getting reamed.
Yeah.
And came back, and I was like, oh my God, the Patriots are really fucking bad.
Yeah.
They came back and they won that game. They scored 10 unanswered in the fourth quarter.
There's against a really bad team. So let's be fair.
So they 40-0 the prior week.
So it's it was an entertaining game with 2 really bad teams.
But listen, Davis Mills played a great game.
He did.
3 touchdowns, no picks.
300 yards. It's quality.
I don't know.
That Chargers Browns game was insane. Justin Herbert. I mean, I almost want to be a Chargers fan. I'm ready to move to LA and be a Chargers fan.
I'm right there with you. They scored 41 points in the last quarter, bro.
Like I just don't.
What is that?
I just don't understand them, right? Like he's that quarterback, and I used the analogy with Chris, and I think it went over his head. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Program, but the quarterback in that movie was Joe Kane. And he would go into the huddle and be like, all right, boys, put the women and children to bed. Let's go get dinner. Right? Like that's Justin Herbert. That's the kind of quarterback he is. Put the women and children to bed. Let's go get this. You know, we need 28 points in the fourth quarter. I could get us there. And they believe it. And then they have a defense. Now the Browns did put 42 up on the board, but the Browns got a running game, man. They have a pretty good offense. I like the Chargers.
Let me tell you, I really like the Chargers also. I think Baker Mayfield is holding the Browns back.
Well, I agree.
We were kidding around with that one, but I really think if they had a better quarterback, they'd be a much better team. They would not find themselves in this situation where 26 points you give up in the fourth quarter. Now that says more about the defense of Cleveland,
right,
than the offense of Cleveland. But the offense has to keep the ball on the field.
Yeah.
They gotta keep the ball moving. And I just don't see Baker as if they want to win a championship, they better go after a better quarterback. I'm sorry.
So he only threw the ball to Beckham 3 times. He was targeted 3 times. He is by far your best receiver on the field. Is it because like, and maybe I need to watch the game closer. Was he getting double teamed the whole game? You know, did they have some sort of sandwich box like they took Tyreek Hill out of the game for Kansas City when they played the Bills? Like, I didn't watch the game that closely, right? But like, you would think that Beckham would get more than 3 targets.
Yeah. And then the one that Beckham dropped, that was the killer. That could have kept the ball out of Justin Herbert's hands, but you gave him one more chance and he made you fucking pay. The Browns right now, Baker Mayfield's numbers are a direct benefit of the running game.
Yeah.
Period. It's not because Baker is lighting shit up. It's because he's got 2 fucking studs pounding a rock.
So you mentioned earlier when we were talking about the Dallas game, like the only thing comparable from a running game is probably Cleveland. Let's look at the whole offense versus offense. They're quite similar, right? If you look at what Cleveland has on offense and what Dallas has on offense, running backs comparable, tight ends comparable, right? Cleveland's got a couple stud tight ends. You know, they don't have
better tight ends than Dallas, actually.
But Dallas's are sneaky good, man. Like they make big catches and they're big country boys that like throw barrels of hay for the summer. You know what I mean? They're just that country strong. So receiving core when they're healthy, like the edge would have to go to Dallas, but they got some runners in Cleveland. You know, so it's comparable. But then you have the quarterback. Dak Prescott is a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield.
Much better.
And that's why they're 4-1.
Listen, I would say Daniel Jones is a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield.
Come on now, man.
I would. Daniel Jones could get you yards running the ball where Baker can't. Daniel Jones is a more accurate deep ball passer.
Daniel Jones has also been hurt every season that he's played in the NFL. He's missed games. He might miss another game. That concussion didn't look good. No. Right? And I'm just being honest. Right? Like, yes, he's a good quarterback, and he is probably better than Baker Mayfield. Right? He's certainly faster than Baker, and I think he might have a more accurate arm. Right? I think Baker's got an arm though. Like, so that's
I think a toss up. Benefit of a better team. That's what I think.
You know, but Daniel Jones needs to stay on the field, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he might be out a few weeks.
It looked bad.
Mm-hmm. You know what it reminded me of? Last year in the playoffs, when Patrick Mahomes got his bell rung, and they had to pick it. He couldn't stand his own body weight.
Yep.
He played that following week. It was the playoffs.
He stayed in for another player too, didn't he?
No, I don't think they did.
There was another one where someone had their bell rung and he stayed in the game for like another player too.
That was bad. I was like, oh my God, get that man a medic. It was like, that's what it reminded me of.
The Dallas player almost ran over to catch him. He was like, oh, this guy's getting a little stumped.
Yeah. That was pretty
bad hit.
You know, a lot of the Giants fans are in an uproar with Jason Garrett for calling that play. And I do think it was a bad play. If it would have worked, it would have been a good play, right? But I think that one of the things Daniel Jones has not mastered is making the business decision when he scrambles.
Yeah.
He's gotten better. He's not mastered it because there are a lot of other quarterbacks who would have done that same play and said, this shit is not going to work. It's time to make a business decision, and just slid or ran out of bounds or put themselves in a position to survive it for another play. He has not mastered that yet. You get your bell rung like that, it helps you to master that shit more quickly. So we'll see if he makes some changes to his game when he recovers from this.
We'll see. So Carson, Carson for once looked like he wasn't trying to do too much.
Well, he's changed his game because of injury.
Last night. Yeah, he had to. It took him 4 years in Philly, like to live for, let me not die on this sword. Let me live for another down. It's okay to punt the ball sometimes in a football game, right? Like that's why it's allowed to happen. That's why it's part of the deal. That's why we have a punter on the team.
Right.
It's okay to punt sometimes.
Yeah.
Field position.
Or throw the ball away.
Or throw it away.
Yeah.
But I'm this is a really interesting season. We got some really good teams.
Yeah.
We got some teams that were supposed to be good that
the disparity between good and bad, though, is very broad this year, too.
Yeah.
It's very broad. It almost makes, I mean, we've had the good fortune of having some very entertaining games this year. And then there's been some games where you're just like, why do we have to watch them play? And then the drama off the field is just, it gets exhausting.
I mean, I think we need a pod day just to talk about the drama off the field. Like we could have spent this entire hour and 15 minutes talking about the Raiders, blended it into the Washington whatchamafucks, talked about what's happening down in Jacksonville, and just talked about the whole caboodle.
I don't know how, and not for nothing, Urban Meyer should be fired.
Yeah.
Here, no question about it. I don't understand how, if you were ever blessed with, here's your time to fire him without having anything on your mind to make you feel like, did I fire him too soon or not? After the Gruden firing, there you go. It's right in front of you. Get rid of the guy, especially after his press conference. Did you see his press conference?
No.
Urban Meyer made himself look like a complete fucking idiot. He brought his grandkids up.
Stop.
He said, I stayed longer so I can spend time with the grandkids.
Stop.
And then you slid into a party next door and you grinding on some chick who's not your wife. You should have left the grandkid statement out. It's so bad. You have to see it.
To be fair, she was grinding on him.
Doesn't matter. He let it happen.
Like lap dances are supposed to happen in the champagne room where there are no cameras, you idiot. Like, I don't understand people. Like, people are going to do what they do. Like, you can't change a tiger's stripes, right? Like, if that's who he is, probably not the first time, right? But you're a head NFL football coach you were a mastermind per se in college. I have to believe you're reasonably intelligent. Why? When every single person on the planet has one of these, that people continue to put themselves in bad situations.
Mike.
It just blows my mind.
Maya Angelou said, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them, right?
Yeah.
Urban Meyer, when he was first hired as the head coach, he brought in a strength and conditioning coach who had a record of being he had receipts all over the place of being a racist prick. He hired him anyway, knowing, like it was all over the paper, the news, everywhere. They're like, you're still going to hire this guy? Oh, I believe in him. I think that maybe these were some isolated. He still hired him. Urban Meyer then takes Tim Tebow, a quarterback turned tight end, and signs him. Urban Meyer, you drafted the best quarterback to come out of college in ages, from what people were saying, right?
Yeah.
And Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
And now you got, and Trevor Lawrence has not looked like Trevor Lawrence.
He hasn't looked bad.
I'm not saying that's a direct result of Urban Meyer. What I'm saying is this guy, and then the grinding in the bar, right? This guy has shown you that he can't even, if we had a 2-year rule for coaches, he won't even make it there. He's not built for this. He makes mistakes, like you said, Mike. He's got to be a reasonably intelligent person. This reasonably intelligent person is doing some idiotic and stupid things as a first-year head coach in the National Football League. And I'm also say this: some coaches who are on the collegiate level are great at coaching kids. They can't coach. They can't coach grown men. They can't lead an organization that's full of grown men who are millionaires. This is not one of them. He's not one of them. He should have been fired. If you ever needed a perfect out to fire a guy, here it is. And the Jacksonville Jaguars are blowing it.
Trevor Lawrence is playing bad. Being 0-5, being 0-5 hurts him real bad though. When you look at QBR, and that's the rating I look at for quarterbacks, it takes into account your win-loss record, right? It factors that in. So, but he's 26. It's pretty bad. And not for nothing, we talked about
we saw in a long time coming out of college.
And he might be all right. He might turn out to be okay. He's just on a really bad offense, and he's got Urban Meyers for his coach. Who do they go get though? Who do they pick?
I don't know. Who wants the job? They're obviously going to get some real high draft picks, right? I don't know where they are in terms of how many picks they have going into the draft. I can't believe we're talking about the draft. It's week 5.
Well, the Giants are 1-5, so
hey, I hope I think we have 3 picks in the first round next year.
Right now, you're looking at number 5.
Mm-hmm.
Number 13. You have another one in there?
No, it's probably 2. I think it's 2. We got 3 2s, 2 1s,
yeah.
3 2s. I don't think we have a third, but we have a few 4s.
Okay. So you're looking at 5 and 13. The Eagles are looking at 7, 9, and 10.
9 and 10 are good.
7, 9, and 10.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're looking at right now. It's not going to finish that way. For Jacksonville, though, they're 0-5. They're probably going to continue to be 0-5. The Giants are better than a 1-4 record, right? Like I talk a lot of shit on the page because that's what we do,
right?
Right, but they're better than a 1-4 team. I don't know if their record will reflect their ability. I'll say that, right? Like, it's like the Eagles. They're 2-3, and we've seen 3 good Eagle versions, and they would be 2-1. We've seen 2 really kind of piss poor versions as well, right? But I don't know. They're not going to finish. I don't think they finish 2-3 though either. But we'll see.
What do you think that boils down to? You think it's a discipline?
It's coaching, man. They make bonehead mistakes in the red zone. They kill themselves with penalties. That's coaching.
Is that coaching or discipline?
Isn't that both? Isn't that the same thing?
Yeah.
Execution,
discipline. I think they kind of mesh together in some kind of a way, but I don't know for that I've seen another team turn 7-3 in such a short span than the Eagles.
Repeatedly. Against Kansas City. Was it? No, it wasn't Kansas City. Who did they play? Was it Kansas City?
There was 3 of them that you took off the board. It was Kansas City.
And if they score those, who knows what happens? Tyreek burned the fuck out of them now. So, I think Kansas City probably still wins the game, but it's like a 47-42 game like the Chargers and the Browns had, just becomes one of those games. You know, they've got to put the ball in the end zone, man. Goddard dropped the ball the other day. It was right in his hands. That's why Jalen said, fuck it, I'm just going to run the next one in.
So what's he going to miss the next one? Not two.
At least one. You know, I mean, typically COVID isolations, typically 7 to 10 days mandatory. Some places stretch it out to 2 weeks, but it's typically 10 days. You know, you can go back to business after, if I were to test positive today and say I get retested in 5 days and test negative, I could test 3 days after that, and then I should be cleared if I'm still negative. You know, but it really all depends on symptom onset. The problem is, like, people are getting COVID and they don't have any fucking symptoms, right? They're just carriers. You know?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of people that have been vaccinated, and this is just with me and our clients. You know, got the vaccine, but test positive at the door. No signs and symptoms. Nothing.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So the vaccine's doing what it's supposed to do. That's my logical reasoning. It's keeping you from progressing.
Right.
But you're still getting COVID.
Sure. You're still carrying it and could potentially get other people who are not vaccinated sick.
Exactly.
So that layer of protection works. And yeah, I thought that we would see larger numbers of COVID cases in the league at this point than we're seeing with everything opened up the way that it is. But we haven't. So that's a good thing.
I thought I was going to get it again by going to the blue and white game or the whiteout at Penn State with 110,000 people in the stadium.
Yeah.
110,000 people.
I saw the video where you turned around. That was impressive.
It's if you have a bucket list, I highly suggest putting the Penn State whiteout on that bucket list.
I wouldn't go though. I don't like crowds that much.
Dude,
fact,
I
hate them.
It's amazing.
Yeah, not for me.
It's amazing.
I don't like people that much, bro.
Saquon Barkley came out. They had, it's the whiteout game, so they got a lot of different players come back every year. Saquon comes out, during a timeout, TV timeout, whatever. And like we do this thing at Penn State, we are, and then you answer Penn State. We are Penn State. We are Penn State. Thank you. You're welcome. Right? Like, so Saquon comes out with the we are part, whole stadium, 110,000 people. Penn State. We are Penn State.
I bet you that was awesome.
Dude, it was phenomenal. Like, my hair's standing up right now.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal. I hope the kid's ankle's all right, man. I really do.
Yeah, me too.
Damn. Such a shame. Well, let's wrap it up, man. That was free flowing,
non-scripted.
Went a million different directions all over the place. Still managed to talk some football.
Yeah, we covered good content today, and we talked about the on-field, off-field injuries. We covered a lot of bases.
Well, it's serious stuff, man. Like, I mean, it's a shame that we still live in a day and age where, we got to deal with some of this shit, right? But Gruden's how old? He's older than us.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he was kind of raised in a different era. I'm not excusing anything. Whatever, right? Like, if stuff's coming out that Keyshawn called this shit a decade ago, I'm gonna ride with that, right?
Yeah.
But my parents were raised in a different area, in a different time. They don't understand today. They have no clue, right? We do. We're like, I think our generation, because you and I are relatively the same age.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're the bridge, right? We're the bridge to the past and the future. Because there's more of us that are, I'd like to believe we might differ on certain things, but we're generally on the same page with just about everything.
100%.
Maybe a slight variation, and I think that we need to start talking about this shit more often,
Yeah.
I just do. I think that, we have to have a conversation and not get pissed off in a post, not let social media control our lives. And have some conversations, man. Like, just chop it up. Let's have
I agree
barbecue. Let's talk
100%.
about it.
100%. I've got clients who we have differences of opinions in different areas, and we talk. We have intelligent,
Yeah.
knowledgeable conversations because for me, I'm interested in hearing other perspectives.
Mhm.
I do not subscribe to a perspective.
Right.
Help me broaden my horizons.
Yeah.
Help me to understand why you see it the way you see it, because I know and respect you.
Yeah.
And if it means that much to you, help me see.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean that I want you to try to bring me. That's not, let's just have the conversation and let my perspective be reshaped by the conversation that we have.
Yeah. And vice
And that's
versa.
how it should be.
And vice versa. Because it's a two-way street, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah. I'm going to plug your business real quick too, man. Since you said you talked about clients, even though we're not sponsored by Access Cornerstone, you know, can I write off my home office, or is that no longer allowed?
No,
It's no longer allowed.
no,
Fucking
unfortunately,
government,
no.
man.
Yeah.
Fucking government. Jesus.
And what I can't understand for the life of me, why there wasn't a provision written in for those who, with the pandemic and the way that it affected the country and the world, people were forced to work from home. Some people had to upgrade their internet service.
Mhm.
Some people had to have VPNs put in place.
Mhm.
People had to modify their homes by putting a desk, a camera, a good functioning microphone in place so that they could do their job that they need to pay the mortgage, feed their kids, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And why we don't have something in place to write that off? Some people no longer work in an office, but they travel great distances to do different things. Why can't you write off? You travel great distances to do things. Okay, if you don't have a automobile reimbursement policy from your job, why can't you write off the mileage?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
It makes no sense.
It makes no sense whatsoever. There was a time where you could use a simplified method to write off just a flat number of towards your living expenses based on the region that you live in. That's been eliminated. It's frustrating because I have to explain this to people who don't understand because it makes no sense. The explanation makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like, why can't I write it?
I was talking to my mom earlier, right? And like my mom's 82 years old. So, or she's 82. So she's like, I've told her for like the 18,000th time that my office is at home, right? Like she's like, do you go to the office every day or do you travel? I was like, Mom, my office is at home, and it has been for the last 2 years, but she's like, well, you can write that off. I was like, I think they got rid of that. She was like, no, they didn't. Like it's dumbfounding to her that they would take that away.
Yeah,
Dumbfounding.
it is. It's unfortunate. Hopefully they bring it back. I really do.
I don't know if they do though, because we have so many people working from home now, and people are not going back to offices.
That's all the more reason it should be a write-off, though.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, yeah, hell yeah. From my standpoint, let me write it off, because I'm thinking about putting an addition onto my house just so I can have a bigger office.
That
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
my office is nice. It's a little hole. I don't have I don't have a bookshelf. I don't really have what is going on here. ESPN, they need to stop with their ads on their website. They make enough money on, and like, come on, man. Take your ads off. They start playing in my ear. I don't know if you hear them or not, but
no, I don't hear.
They start playing, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But I'd like to put I'd like more Penn State stuff on the wall. You know, I'd love to get a frame, and I'll probably do this anyway, but like I'd love to get a framed picture of the whiteout game I was at, because I could find me. I'd be like, I was there.
How cool is that? Yeah, that'd be nice.
It's cool. You know, I got an Eagles sign helmet by Miles Sanders. You know, I don't know why they don't
Is
play
it the,
him.
the actual size or one of the minis?
Minis.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got a blank Penn State one that I'd like to get. I'd like to get a
Nice.
signature as well.
Nice.
You know, it's sitting there. So Saquon or Miles Sanders, either one.
Yeah.
You know, but my office is small, like, and it's got a slanted roof. It's
Yeah.
weird. So, and that's, you know, that's just to make it more comfortable. Like, this is my office.
Mhm.
You know, this is where I spend a large amount of time.
Yeah.
You know, too much time probably, but it's a large amount of time. You know,
Yeah.
and I want to be a little bit more comfortable. So, you know, we'll see about an addition, but I can't get on a docket to get like my porch fixed, let alone getting an addition on the house
What do you mean from the city?
from a contractor standpoint. Like they're
Oh.
just busy.
Yeah.
They're just busy.
Yeah.
You know, that's enough chitter chatter, man. Always good to chat with you though, brother.
Always. 100%, bro.
100%.
All right. So Thursday night,
We
got
both picked the Patriots.
Bucks, Eagles. It's gonna be a dogfight, but I think we both believe that the Patriots are. I mean the Bucks. You said the Patriots.
I did.
I think the Bucks are gonna do it. So we'll see. Stranger things have happened, right?
Stranger things have happened. You know, my only hope is they got Godwin and Gronk questionable, and they both don't play. They both don't play. It tones down that offense a little bit.
I don't know. Tom Brady's just something else. We'll see.
He is. We'll see, man. We'll chat about it Friday or Saturday. One of those.
All right, man.
All right, man.
Have a good night.
You too.
All right.
Later.